hide. Okay, throw your name on here. It is currently first hour. Okay, today we are finding the axis of symmetry and the vertex of our quadratics. We have already learned a ton of different ways to find the zeros. So today we're moving on and finding, so we found the zeros and the x/x-intercepts, we can use those interchangeably. Today we are finding the axis of symmetry, which is this dotted line that chops your graph in half, and the vertex, which is either the top middle point or the bottom middle point, depending on what your graph looks like. So that is what we are finding today, is vertex and axis of symmetry, vertex, axis of symmetry. Okay, standard form of quadratic is still the same, ax squared plus bx plus c. I just put this on here so when I say to use negative b over 2a, you know where we're getting our a, b, and c from, okay? So that's where we get our a, b, and c from, is from our standard form. The axis of symmetry is a vertical line that splits the parabola into two equal halves. So it is, if you think about what the word symmetry means, like a butterfly is symmetrical, a lot of things are symmetrical. What else is symmetrical? Your face, maybe, is symmetrical, okay? So it is going to be the line that chops the parabola in half. The formula to find that is x equals negative b over 2a. That might look familiar. It's part of the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula had your plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac up here, but the negative b over 2a, we've seen that in the quadratic formula. And then how we find the rest of our vertex is once we know that x value, because if this line is the x value that's in the middle, we take that x value, we plug it in, and we find y. That is what we are going to be doing today. We are also going to be looking at our graphs and determining whether they're going to open up like this or open down like this. So that's what these blanks are for. If a is positive, so if our a value is positive, your graph will have a minimum and it will open and opens up. I'm going to draw a little picture of that. So if a is positive, your graph will look like this, and that will be the minimum. If your a is negative, your graph will have a maximum and it will open down. So it will look more like this. So go ahead and sketch those on there, fill in those blanks, and then we will get started. Not that we aren't already started. So what we're going to be looking at today, we're going to find our axis of symmetry by doing negative b over 2a. We're going to find the vertex by plugging that in for x and getting the corresponding y. And then we're also going to stop and say whether that vertex is going to be a minimum or a maximum and whether your graph is going to open up or down. So those are just some additional things that we're going to do today. Go ahead and flip this over. We have 3 examples on the back. We have f of x equals x squared plus 8x plus 7. The first thing I have on all of these for you guys is a, b, c, so we can always fill that out. In this one, our a value is 1. So a equals 1, b equals 8, c equals 7. Okay, the formula that we are always going to use to find our axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a. So if you want to write that down at least on this first one so you know what you're plugging into, that might be good. And then we plug in our b value and our a value. So negative b on the top is going to be negative 8 over 2a is 2 times 1. I put that in parentheses. Sometimes I put it in parentheses, sometimes I don't. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply the 2 times 1 on the bottom. So I've got negative 8 over 2. And negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So that is my axis of symmetry. Okay. Any questions on that being my axis of symmetry? Okay. So then that is also the x value of my vertex. So you can go ahead and put that on the first blank of your vertex ordered pair. And then we plug that x value in to find the y value of our vertex. So we're going to go back to our original equation. So I've got 1 times negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 7. I can work that out piece by piece, but I could also just plug it in my calculator. And I think we're going to minimize mistakes plugging it into our calculator. So that's what I'm going to do. So 1, open parentheses, negative 4 squared, plus 8 times negative 4, plus 7. So go ahead and put that in your calculator, please. Because if you're going to be expected to do it on your own, you need to make sure you can do it during notes. So open your calculators and put that in your calculator, is what I'm saying. Hit enter and set your calculator down when you're done. So I know we are ready to move on. Calculator? Go get it. Here. You forgot the negative on that second 4. Put it in. So right here, when you put in negative 4, you need to use the negative t, you use the minus t. So negative should work. Okay, get a little bit. Get over here. Good, good, good. Gotta put that negative 4 in parentheses, or else it squares the 4 and then multiplies it by the negative. Okay, so you guys should have gotten negative 9. I know a couple of us forgot a negative, and I know a couple of us forgot some parentheses. So if you did not get negative 9, on the next problem we do, make sure that you type it in again and try to get the correct thing on the next one, and let us know if you've got questions still. All right, we've got one more thing to do on this problem, which is to decide whether it's going to have a maximum or minimum and decide whether it opens up or opens down. The easiest way for me to do this is to draw a picture so I can see it. So I come here and I say A is positive. So if A is positive, it's going to look like this. It's going to open up. So then that makes it easier for me to see my vertex is going to be a low point. It's going to be a minimum. And this opens up. So you can go ahead and circle those two things. So if A is positive, your graph is going to be shaped like this. It has a minimum and it opens up. Okay, any questions at the moment? we will keep going then. We've got 2 more to see. My next one, what's my A value? What's my B value? -12. What's my C value? 16. Awesome. We're not using our C values today at all, but it's easier to just write them all down instead of just like doing 2 of the 3. Seems weird. All right, my formula is x equals -b over 2a. There is a negative that's in the formula, and my b is negative. So right now, just like with quadratic formula, I'm going to put down the -12. And then I'll flip it here in a second. And then on bottom, 2a is 2 times my a value is 2. So 2 times 2. So there's a negative that's part of the formula or equation. My b value is also negative. So I'm remembering I have both of those negatives. -12 is now +12. And then 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 12 over 4, which is 3. Okay, then that is the x value of my vertex, and we will plug that in for x to find the y value of my vertex. So we'll do 2 times 3 squared minus 12 times 3 plus 16. When you guys are doing your assignments, make sure you write that down. Write down what you're going to put in your calculator, but then you can totally just put it in your calculator. So 2 times 3 squared minus 12 times 3 plus 16. I don't know, I haven't hit enter yet. Okay. I got -2. If you did not get -2, leave it in your calculator, and then we will. If you did not get -2, leave it in your calculator, and we will come, so don't hit clear, we will come around and we can look and we can help you find your mistakes after notes, okay? So don't clear it, because we can't help you find your mistake. But right now, so that we can move on, we're gonna leave it there. It's probably a negative or a minus or a squared or something that got plugged in weird, okay? Any questions about what we were doing? I know we have some calculator questions. Okay, one thing I want to mention at this point is if you're going to do this by hand without a calculator, remember order of operations. You would need to do 3 squared and then multiply by 2 if you're going to do it by hand. So 3 squared is 9, then 9 times 2 is 18. You don't want to do 2 times 3 and then square that and get 36. All right, last one we've got. Oh, we have one more thing to do on this one. This one, again, a is positive, so it opens up like this. So it opens up, and it has a minimum. Okay, let's look at our last one, and then we can help figure out some calculator issues. Last one we've got, f of x equals -x squared plus 2x minus 5. What is my a value? 1, -1, yes. So go ahead and put down that your a value is -1. And go ahead and put a -1 right there in between the negative and the x. Then my b value is 2, and my c value is -5. Okay, axis of symmetry, always the same thing. X equals -b over 2a. So -b is going to be -2. And then in this problem, 2a is going to be 2 times -1. So on top I have -2. And then on bottom, 2 times -1, also -2. So since I have this negative divided by a negative, it ends up being positive 1. So x equals positive 1. That is my x value of my vertex as well. Okay. Any questions about finding x? Okay, this is important. Go ahead and leave that negative 1 there when you plug it in, because that negative 1 needs to be in front of parentheses, and then you would have a 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 5. If you don't have that 1 in parentheses and that negative or negative 1, you could just do the negative, but I like to just keep it with the negative 1. You aren't going to get the correct y value. It's just a weird order of operations thing. So that's why I like to always put those negative 1s in. So negative 1, open parentheses, 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 5. And I get negative 4. Once again, if you did not get negative 4, we will come around after we pass out assignments. Just don't clear your calculator. We can help you figure out why. Okay, so then the last thing, this guy has a negative a value. So if you have a negative a value, it's going to look like this. So that means your vertex is going to be a maximum, and it is going to open down. Okay. Any questions at the moment? Okay, go ahead and glue in your notes then. We've got 20 minutes left of class exactly for you guys to work on your assignments.